talked a lot about central banks. We talked a lot about, negative rates and quantitative easing. From the first time they started quantitative easing, the worries about inflation began, right? I mean, I think back to the global financial crisis and, crazy gold bugs out there. Everyone's saying that QE infinity and gold's going to the moon. And sure, gold's done okay recently, but are we finally going to see inflation with what's happening, or do we need to take one more step? I know you recently wrote a paper about central bank digital currency, and maybe that's kind of the next step needed to get that inflation, right?
Yeah. So I think the inflation debate is so interesting right now, and I fully believe that near term deflationary pressures are going to continue to be here. And I wrote a paper, it's Pandora's Box of Digital Currencies. You can find it on DoubleLine.com, where I try to lay out some of the structural elements of the current disinflation environment, and the potential for these new central bank digital currencies to break this framework that we're stuck in right now. And it's not just the U.S. It's around the globe. Japan has not been able, with all of their QE policies, to generate inflation. Europe, same deal, has not been able, to generate inflation. So it's not just a U.S. problem. Ultimately, what I argue in the paper is that QE is, effectively providing liquidity to the banking system, but the banking system isn't willing to lend out that money. Yep. So it's not like you're providing cash directly to you and I for us to go and spend. And the issue that we can see this across the globe with the falling velocity of money. You just see that credit creation really isn't happening. And we know that it tends to be the lower end of the income spectrum that saves less and spends more. Unfortunately, the way QE works with purchasing, for example, a government bond from a bank and then crediting their excess reserve account, the bank needs to decide, what are we going to do with that excess reserve? We can either, make a loan, which they're not because they're worried about the outlook.
C&I production's down. They're just buying agency mortgages. Right?
Exactly. You work on your NIM, but, or you can market make, or you just you're just saving, you're saving this regulatory capital for a bad day. And ultimately, the loans that are made to institutions. Wealthy individuals get the benefit from
they're going to lend to the highest quality borrowers. Right?
So you get the highest quality borrowers, and then also the financial asset trade that you can use this regulatory capital to help boost financial activity rather than creating new loans. So what is a central bank digital currency? It's basically it's a digital currency. It's an electronic form of money. But what makes it different from digital currencies like Bitcoin that we commonly discuss is it will have the full faith and credit of that government backing it. So the government can create and destroy that currency as it would paper money. It's meant to be used as just a replacement. The interesting thing about it is they can, in a digital format, companies such as MasterCard are offering a platform with which you can. What they want to do is allow a new system of payment of settlements and payments via MasterCard. But let's really think about exactly what this means. It means that the central bank can place money directly into a deposit account of an individual. So you can start to target outcomes if you want. Now, you
can target outcomes by income level. Right?
Correct. So if you want more spending, you can say, we're going to put this directly into, your bank account onto a MasterCard. And the other thing is the central bank can see exactly what you do with it. Unlike paper money, there's a trail. And I know that people are talking about, privacy issues and potential privacy vouchers whereby the government promises not to look at what you do with, a certain amount of that money. But, let's get real. If services, continue to suffer, I could very easily see a situation whereby, the government instructs the central bank to put, digital currency into a debit card that's given to people that needs to be spent within a certain amount of time on
you may not even
services.
need a debit card; it can just be on your
on your Apple
right?
Pay
that's
or
even
whatever.
faster, right?
Exactly right.
So this is basically Ben Bernanke's dream come true. The helicopter money that he wanted could be upon us shortly.
And that, in my opinion, would break the back of disinflation, because now you would truly have, I think the velocity would go right back up. But what comes with that is, I think what we need to be very careful about is that wall that had separated fiscal and monetary policy all of a sudden gets broken. Now, granted, it's in the realm of fiscal policymakers to decide, who should get stimulus payments. But if the Fed or central banks, are the ones who direct the plumbing, if they've input the plumbing for that, I can very easily see in an emergency situation, either they're granted new powers or they take new powers, to be able to spur emergency payments. And as we know, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government policy.
And so where does the money come from? It just increases the debt burden
It's just printed. So you have currency debasement issues.
Yeah.
And that actually, thank you for saying that, because that brings...
Does anybody owe it or no? It's
the same as like how, with how we're seeing current printing happen.
Yeah.
Debasement is, again, a relative value game. So if everyone's debasing at the same pace, you end up in a situation where, you start trying to find the least dirty shirt. But I do think that long term, the idea of not only digital currencies, but this new payment system and on a global, on kind of a global format, poses another structural downside risk to the dollar, potentially, removing the dollar's status as a reserve currency. And I'm actually in the process of writing a paper on that, which should come out in the next week or so.
Okay.
That walks through a lot of those. And for anyone interested, DoubleLine.com will have that up in the next week or so.
Awesome. Look forward to reading it.